Now we delve into a pivotal moment in the early days of Islam, when the practice of Salah, prayer, was established, and the call to Islam began to take a more public form. This stage marked a significant step in the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, mission, as it laid the foundation for the spiritual discipline that would become central to the lives of Muslims, while also signaling a shift from secrecy to open propagation of the message. The early establishment of prayer. In the early stages of the Islamic call, prayer was instituted as an obligatory act of worship, but in a simpler form than what we know today. Muqatil bin Sulaiman narrates that the prayer at this stage consisted of 2 rakas, units of prayer, in the morning and 2 in the evening, reflecting the times of day when the believer is most inclined to turn to their Creator in reflection and gratitude. Allah instructed the believers, "And glorify the praises of your Lord in the Ashi, that is the time period after the mid-noon till sunset, and in the Ibkar, that is the time period from early morning or sunrise till before mid-noon." Surah Ghafir, 55. As Ibn Hajar noted, it is certain that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was engaged in prayer before the night journey, al-Isra, but there is some debate about whether these early prayers were obligatory or a precursor to the more structured 5 daily prayers that would later be commanded. The teaching of Wudu and Salah. According to narrations, when the first revelation came, the angel Gabriel, peace be upon him, taught the Prophet, peace be upon him, how to perform Wudu, ablution, a ritual purification that would become an essential part of Salah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, observed Wudu, symbolizing the spiritual and physical purity required to stand before Allah in prayer. Ibn Hisham relates that the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his early followers would often retreat to secluded mountain valleys to perform their prayers in secret. These early prayers were moments of profound spiritual connection and reflection, carried out away from the prying eyes of the Quraysh, who had not yet fully grasped the implications of this new faith. Abu Talib's support. The Prophet's uncle, Abu Talib, was one of the first to notice the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his cousin Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, praying together. Curious about this new practice, Abu Talib inquired what they were doing. When he learned that it was a form of obligatory worship, he did not discourage them. Instead, he urged them to remain steadfast in their devotion. This support from Abu Talib, despite his own adherence to the traditional beliefs of his people, was crucial in allowing the early Muslim community to practice their faith with a degree of protection. The Quraysh learn about the call. Although the early stages of the Islamic call were conducted in secrecy, the news of Muhammad's, peace be upon him, activities began to spread across Makkah. Initially, the leaders of the Quraysh did not see the Prophet, peace be upon him, as a serious threat. They thought of him as just another religious thinker, like those who had come before him, men such as Umayyah bin Abi As-Salt, Qus bin Sa'idah, and Amr bin Nufail, who had mused over matters of godship and religious obligations but had never disrupted the social order. However, this attitude of indifference soon turned into concern. As the number of converts grew, and as the message of Islam began to challenge the very foundations of the Quraysh's authority and their religious practices, the leaders of Makkah started to watch the Prophet, peace be upon him, more closely. They realized that this was not just another philosophical discourse, but a call that threatened to transform the entire fabric of Meccan society. The shift to public preaching. For 3 years, the Prophet, peace be upon him, continued to spread the message of Islam quietly, nurturing a small but growing community of believers who were united by a common goal, to propagate the truth of Islam. These early years were marked by a spirit of fraternity and cooperation among the believers, who worked together to deepen their understanding of the new faith. But the time had come for the message to be brought out into the open. The angel Gabriel, peace be upon him, brought down a new revelation, instructing the Prophet, peace be upon him, to take his mission to the people of Makkah publicly. It was a moment of great significance, as it marked the beginning of a new phase in the Islamic call, one that would eventually lead to the transformation of Arabia and, indeed, the entire world.